Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of ian.is.weird. Today, we're not going to watch a movie. We're going to just hang out. One, because I have just missed the kind of like low pressure of just hanging out, talking to you all, and not having to like split my attention several ways. And then also, today was just kind of a day. I had to go to my best friend's celebration of life, and um, it was really challenging in a lot of ways, and um, it was also really interesting in other ways, and in ways that only his funeral could be. Um, and I, uh, I just oh shit, Kelly's live. I forgot. Wait, I thought Kelly went live on Sundays. She changed her schedule and I didn't know. Oops. Um, but Kelly's great. So if you want to watch Kelly, I understand. And so um, we got to go and um, uh, participate. Him. Sorry, music's really loud. I know he loves the song. Doesn't listen to it. Yeah, it's just, it's a heavier day. I don't think that anyone can ever, um, even if you kind of know things are coming, things can still be really challenging. Um, to have them kind of right in front of your face. And it's always amazing to see that other people appreciated your friend who you love deeply as much as you did. Um, Even if, you know, there's some facets to those relationships that you have opinions about. Um, I, you know, kind of made up some worst case scenarios in my head to, song always gets me. I remember the last time I listened to this with him. This is Haven't Heard the Last of Me by Cher. We were both big Cher fans. He actually got me into Cher because he was queer as a $2 bill for sure. And I, um, but a lot of people loved him, and I just wish he, knew that when he was alive. I think he knew to some degree, but you know, it's always, unfortunately, situations like this where people can't predict the impact that they have on someone's life until, you know, unfortunately they're gone, and you know, those those moments are kind of broadcast to everyone else. No one's going to talk about how great you are. Apparently, when you're in the room, they wait for you to step out. So I didn't feel like watching the movie, and there were so many moments today where I knew he was with me. There were so many moments, like I said, or I tried to start saying, where I tried to cope ahead, like some worst case scenarios, because I knew if certain things had happened, I might have not either been on my best behavior or not necessarily dealt with them well. And some of the things that I predicted, actually, none of the things I predicted would happen, happened, and different things happened that I was unprepared for, but I kept it under control-ish. Um, I did speak at the reception. I did speak at his funeral. I wasn't sure if I was going to because I knew my anxiety was going to be just racketed up like 500 notches. And conveniently, missed my midday anxiety dose, so that was cool. Anxiety pill medication dose. So that didn't help. But I I was shaking up there. I thought I was going to shake apart, but I was apparently I said some coherent words, and Mel was like, because I was like, Mel, like, give it to me straight. Like, how was it? Because I was like, it was pretty bad, wasn't it? It was like, I feel like I got it together at the end, but the beginning was pretty rocky. And and you know, she was like, it wasn't in your top public speaking moments, but she was like, wasn't bad. She like Mel was fully prepared to like. She said she was prepared to um, she said she was prepared to stand up and be like, okay, and Ian's wrapping up, like ready to step in if I needed to, because sometimes we just don't know what's going to come out of my mouth. And so we, I guess I'm not going to listen to music. It's a little distracting. I'm already done focusing. So I joked with her afterwards as like, you could have pulled like a Moira Rose and like Danny Boy'd me, if you get the reference, from Schitt's Creek. But luckily that didn't need to happen, and people said that it was okay. So that's good. There were some shocking moments for sure. There were some hard moments for sure. There were tears from me for sure, especially the beginning. But there were some good people there, and people I had known for a long time. Me and his other best friend, we kind of had each other's back pretty hard in this, and that felt really good to have that support, because I knew it felt safer knowing that like if I could be a mess, then like she was gonna be like equally as much of a mess. So like she ended up talking to, so that was good, and she kind of was just as nervous and just had kind of the same kind of, like, hers was a lot gentler than mine, because I don't know, I loved the things that people thought were flaws about my friend. I actually really thought that they were strengths of his, because maybe not strengths, but I knew more backstory, I guess. My friend kind of had a reputation for being an asshole, and I think when people pass, I think some people have, my friend and I, like, when we talked, like, we would never pull punches, in a good way, like, and sometimes a hard reality kind of way, having the mirror kind of like shown to you. And so I think that was, for me, it was honest to go up there and to talk about how my friend had faults, but they were things that I loved about him, and our faults worked together. And for his other friend, she just went and just talked about, how he just kind of, was with her, and we all had different relationships, and but it was good to have her there, and the family, especially his dad, was um, very kind to me throughout the whole process, and I showed up as much as I could, and I was there as much as I could be, for the family, and not to like pat myself on the back, but just to like just to say that like I I hope that like I just wanted to be there to comfort them, but I felt like more connected with the dad afterwards, because he kind of told me that hearing the stories from my friend Morris, from Morris's friends, really gave him a perspective of his son that he hadn't seen before. You know, people are different with their parents than they are with their friends. That's pretty standard across the board. So seeing Morris through Morris's friend's eyes really opened his eyes more to the kind of person that Morris was out in the world, and the impact that he had on people. And so that was really special to hear and to be a part of, in any capacity, because um, it's a special gift to um, say that you could be a part in someone's. I feel like healing journey gives me way too much credit. Like, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm just glad I was there for the family. There are some really weird moments, but I won't get too much into that because that feels like a little bit inappropriate, even though there's some really inappropriate moments. Um, my friend, I know I like have talked about my friend quite a bit. I don't even. I'm just like holding a crochet hook. I'm just like holding a crochet hook and talking about a funeral. Um, Let me do the Tunisian crochet because that's like a little bit less thinking. Just painful, but just thinking. Um, so um, however I could have helped the family was help was good, was was nice. It felt nice. I couldn't sleep last night. As a lot of you know that I moved. I moved about 5 minutes away from where I used to live, and I moved pretty recently. And I couldn't sleep last night. So at about 3:30, and I had to go home in the like today. This morning, I was planning on going home and or to my old place and getting my dress shoes because I'd forgotten them there. So I was just like, you know what? Let me just like go to my old place and just sleep there. So it was like 3:30, 3:45 in the morning. I'm like driving through. I don't live in a big town. Like the streets are empty. It's super late. It's Friday night. I'm like, oh, well, they're not that empty. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. I hope there's no fucking drunk drivers because, uh, anyways, and so I went back to my old place, which was empty, and just kind of slept there and uh, woke up there and went straight from there to the place where they had the celebration of life. And also, I don't. Let me just double check that messages aren't coming through because I'm not getting anything. But that doesn't mean necessarily anything. Let's see. 1 second, sorry. And if it's a little glitchy, you know how that goes sometimes. I don't think there are any comments. Okay, it is saying. I think that one watching is just me. Good job. Okay, so uh, yeah. Um, but yeah, so I I just like slept there and went straight from there to where they had things, and I helped them set up, and it was kind of a chronological like journey through his life and so many pictures and artwork. He apparently they saved everything that like all of his art that he's like ever done, um, in school and throughout his life. Like they had one toy from when they adopted him. Like my friend was adopted from Latvia. Him and his sister um, were adopted from Latvia. They're not biological siblings, but they were in the same orphanage, and they like have like one of his first toys, like two of his first toys. Like that's really special, and um, just seeing some of his artwork as he grew up and seeing all these pictures of him. They were one of those like photo album families, which I can't relate to, but I think it's so amazing that they had all these pictures and these moments that we could all share and be like, oh my gosh, like look at that happy little boy, and that awkward teenager and all that shit. And I I really thought that was special to have all of that of him. And I don't mean for this to be like a sad thing. I know that this is just kind of an unfortunate truth of life. Um, and I love my friend to death, and unfortunately, like due to circumstances, uh, this was something that we kind of all knew was coming, and I just really, you never wanted it to happen, obviously, but that didn't mean that you could stop the train from barreling down the tracks. And I know I did kind of a big long video about it, or like stream about it when it happened, but um, I, I just it was an honor for me to uh, be there and be with his family, be with people who loved him, be with his friends, to be able to call myself his friend, and um, to be able to like be honored to be like introduced by his dad as like one of Mars's like dear friends, like and like not have um I don't know. It was really special, and there were a lot of moments that I was really happy that they went how they did, because um, it was as peaceful, I think, as it could have been, and I'm glad that my ability to self-regulate a little bit helped, and then also just the people around me were being supportive and helping me regulate as well. So uh, so it was just that was a harder part of the day for sure. We stayed for a couple hours. I helped set up and then stayed for a couple hours. So that was most of my day. And then afterwards, Mel and I planned on going to see Deadpool and Wolverine, for some like levity, and just to have like a good time, and kind of knowing that today would be harder. And so we went to go see the movie, and it was fun to go see the movie, and kind of break up the day into like you know distractible portions, where I could kind of rest some like emotional parts of me, uh, in that aspect. So the movie was fun to go see. I wish I hadn't seen so many freaking spoilers. I think it would have been fun to have not seen so many spoilers. Um, and I won't give you any here if you haven't seen any spoilers. But uh, I, I was really honored to be a part of today, and with his family, and all that. It was also very nice, today was not about me, but it was really nice that his family, even if they didn't know much about being trans and stuff like that, they were, um, uh, they still were very nice to me, and I felt that, and people that I hadn't seen in a really long time either didn't recognize me, which I was like that was one of the most shocking things, um, or they like were just cool with me, just like what's up, dude, like like things like that, and that was really nice. Like I feel like I'm saying really nice a lot, but you know, you gotta take the good things. You gotta take the wins. And like today was not about gender affirmation, but um, there were some moments of it for sure. Um, and that was cool too. My friend was very himself. He didn't know a lot about transitioning and like trans issues and things like that. I know he faced a really hard time growing up gay. Um, he had so much that as growing up as a gay man that challenges that he faced, and I think that us as queer and trans people can all relate to different groups of people or communities, social groups, things like that, not accepting you um, because of who you are, and but he was always himself, and he never let that get in the way, and I felt. Uh, you know, we always had that bond because it was interesting because, and I was thinking about it because a lot of people were like, my friend Mars was bold, bold, like he truly was, like not shy about who he was, and I love that about him because I am the same way, and I think, and a lot of people with Morris's help, they found their voice and who they were by seeing Morris being protective over them for feeling and being different, because Morris knew what it felt like to look and feel different, and he wouldn't stand by and let his friends get bullied or treated like shit, and so he always taught people to like stand up for themselves. And when I met Mars, we were kind of the same breed, where we just kind of were already like just gonna be authentically ourselves, no matter what position we were put into. So we had this bond. So we had a bond that was of a different variety than a lot of his friends, where instead of him having to bring me out of my shell and like support me in that, we just supported in each other in living our authentic lives and just fucking like not giving a shit. And so Mars didn't know a lot about trans people, but he loved me. He was my friend, and so he's like, "I got your back no matter what." And then there were just so many moments of like he didn't have to he didn't have to like ask questions, or he did ask some questions and he wanted to know more, and he was curious and never offensive in regard of like being disrespectful, but just asking to know more and be more knowledgeable, and which I always welcome, and then he would, Mars was such a gift giver. Like he loved to give gifts, and like I have a bracelet on today, so I made the blue bracelet, and I have one on my keychain that matches it, that I made for him after he passed, and it says "I will always love you," and it's got a feather on it, because we're both big Dolly Parton fans, and I will always love him. And but the other bracelet, it's this black leather one. He didn't make it, which was pretty rare for him to not have made something, because he made so much jewelry and I have dream catchers everywhere. He made so much stuff. He was such a creative person. Um, but I remember he gave me maybe the time after I um, I came over, it was the second time I came over after coming out as trans. He gave me this bracelet, and he was like, it's like a metal, like it's got metal on it, and it's got like leather. It's a simple but like really cool looking bracelet. And he was like, I just thought this looked masculine, and I saw it, and I wanted you to have it. And he just, it was never like a like change who you are. Are you sure? Like he was like, if that's who you are, then like I love you, and like that's cool. Like, and that's all it took. And that was such a cool aspect of him as a friend. It was never like, he didn't overthink it, and that's what made it very easy to be his friend, in a lot of ways. There were things that made it harder to be his friend, and unfortunately today I saw a lot of people who had fallen out of contact with him because it was challenging at points to be his friend, to watch kind of what happened later in his life, to watch how hard it was for him to struggle. And, I don't blame anyone for, them doing what they have to do to protect themselves. But for me, that was never going to be my story with Mars. I was going to be there until the end. And tonight, I was walking back into my apartment with my dress shoes on. They were cutting into my ankle just right, like they have been for the past like 4 hours. I wore my dress shoes like all day, and like dress shoes are not meant to be worn. They looked really good, but they're uncomfortable. Like they're actually pretty comfortable, but just they cut right at the ankle. Um, and So I'm walking back, and I had told him, as he was kind of falling into some physical health problems due to his addiction, that I was like, I'm not running. I was like, I'm not going anywhere. You're not getting rid of me. Like I'm gonna be here until the end. Like I told him that, and I fucking meant it. Like, and I was as much as I could be, and yeah, I had things going on in my life too, and that he couldn't be there for me when he had things going on in his life sometimes, and vice versa. And so that's okay. That's just how life works. You can't beat yourself up over those things. That's super easy to. Um, but we stayed together because we were bonded. We had this connection that superseded and transcended fucking anything that made sense. And there were some memories that I wish I could have shared today, but I was so like emotional, like don't lose it, don't lose it, don't lose it, that I just kind of, my memory went blank, and I was just like telling them kind of like a general, idea of who Marnus was. I couldn't remember any particular stories. A lot of people told stories, but there were too many for me. But I was going somewhere with that. But it was it was it was a special day, um, in a lot of ways, and I did some things, and I had some influence on things that were like posted around and stuff like that, which I had talked to Mars's parents about a couple different ideas I had for the funeral, and they like his dad pulled a lot of them off, and I was like, hey, like if I'm asking too much of you, if I'm telling you too much, anything seems like too much, like this is a family day, like you worry about you and your family, like you do not need to do anything to like appease me. I was like, I'm just throwing this idea out here. So, like, just do what you want with that information. And I know I'm too much, but, like, get in line to tell me that. Um, but someone had mentioned doing a tarot card. Someone was like, we have a tarot deck. And then they said, and my friend did tarot, taught me how to do tarot. And, I don't do tarot that much anymore, but I did have my deck that he gave me here. so I had to come back here. But someone was like, is there a card that would be good to show? And while there are cards that would be good to show, my particular favorite card is death. Death is not a comforting card for people who don't know what it is, right? It's literally like kind of the worst card to get for people who don't know what tarot is and does. Because if you know tarot, death is a great card because it is about, yeah, I mean, it could mean literal death, but usually it's about transformation and changes. And changes are good, and changes are important in life. So he had an animal spirit deck there, but I had taken the tarot deck. And so when everyone was getting ready at the house, we're all kind of in close proximity. I came back to my apartment and got my tarot deck from him, and I did a reading. And I was like, I don't really know what reading I was doing. I wasn't like doing a particular spread or anything like that, but I did a little reading, and it kind of worked out what the reading was as I did it, because I kind of didn't know. I just kind of was like, what needs to be said right now? And so I did the reading. I had that set up just so people could see the cards, and I wrote down kind of like the story that the cards told. For those of you who haven't had a tarot reading, usually like what someone will do is they'll see the cards and they'll kind of tell the story. They'll tell kind of an unfolding of what the cards are saying, right? And so it's not just like a literal like, here's the sun. It means it's gonna be sunny tomorrow. Like that's not what it means, And it's like, I mean, it could if you were asking about the weather. I don't know, probably not. But so I did a reading, and so I wrote down what it meant, just like, and I like had that set up in a little table. And then I took a picture as I was leaving. I took a picture of my reading, and then the paper I folded up, and on the back I wrote a note to his parents, and I was like, this is how his friends saw him. And it was really special because it was, so it was really special. So I got the Magician. I did a 3-card spread. I got the Magician. I got the 3 of Pentacles, and then I got the Hierophant. And so the Magician is I mean, like literally it could have multiple meanings, but it means someone who's strong-willed and independent, stubborn, and I think it's like the second card of the major arcana. But also, can mean magic, can mean endued with magic, and I really felt like, it was saying, that Mars just had this kind of innate knowledge that was so special, and that he shared with everyone that he touched, and everything that he touched, every craft that he created, everything was just so like he touched, and it just became like more magical. And so that was a really nice card to get. The 3 of Pentacles. Pentacles are often about money, just kind of in general. But the 3 of Pentacles is kind of like taking a step back and looking at your work and looking at how good of a job you've done and looking at what you've contributed. And so it was a really nice card to say, like, we can look around us and see Mars's impact on the people here and on, his environment. And so that was a really nice card to get because, I don't know if he ever really himself ever really took a look back and looked at, it was never enough. Always felt like he could do more. And so it was nice to feel like we're all getting to see just how, the impact that he had on us. And, we all knew it before, but it's nice to take that moment now. um, and then the last card was the what did I say it was? The Hierophant. And so the Hierophant is can be like a spiritual leader. And so it Morris, uh, even if you didn't agree with his spiritual takes on things, Morris's spirituality and approach to spirituality and into life were shaping for so many people and really helped so many people be able, including myself, walk through life. And we're all, uh, you know, lucky to have had him to guide us on that, or to help us along on our own kind of journey. And so, whether it's like a spiritual leader or a mentor or something like that, it's just having someone who's there who can kind of see a step ahead and can kind of give you like a maybe like a better big picture view of these things. And in the stories that were shared about how he would have these deep conversations with people of all ages, of the meaning of life, and these big questions that he was never shy about getting into these big deep theoretical questions. He um, he helped a lot of people in the shaping of their points of view on life. And he was that for a lot of his friends. So I felt like it was appropriate to leave with the family. They can toss it, if they don't like it or want it. I mean, someone literally was like, Ian, can you do a tarot card reading? And I was like, I'll go get my tarot cards. And then it kind of fell off the radar. But at the end, I just was like, hey, I did a reading. Just so you know, while everyone was getting ready, I did a reading. So, use at your discretion, whatever. Um, so it's always nice when readings come together and can uh, do something like that. And Mars and I were always insanely connected in that capacity. Uh, so much so, so much so. I can't begin to describe the connection that we had. You know, I'd be going through a hard time, and all of a sudden I get a call out of the blue. Maybe I hadn't heard from him in a couple months, and he'd be like, "I just had a dream about you. You doing okay?" And I just then I could spill my guts, and the same thing would go the other way, and I would like I consider myself like an empath. I can feel a lot of things that other people are feeling, but I'm not psychic. I don't even. I'm not. That's not my thing. But but I would have the same stuff going on with him, and I would just know. I would just have that gut feeling. We were just so intertwined, and when we put our when we did our Wonder Twin powers activate, we could do so much. It was insane with the connection we had, um, and I am so lucky to have had that. So yeah. So I guess that's kind of part of the reason why we're not doing a movie tonight is because, while I might probably chill and watch TV or hang out, watch some YouTube. I don't know. Um, I don't know. I just felt like talking about my day a little bit, and you know, that's pretty. That it was a day of a lot of things, and yeah. So um, yeah, I I guess that'll probably be it. I talked about my friend for about 40 minutes. So um, yeah, but I'll let you go. Thank you so much for listening, hearing more about my friend and how special he was. I'll never get tired of talking about that. Um, but yeah, maybe we'll be back on the movies tomorrow. But 82 nights until Halloween. So I'll talk to you later.